Of late, I've been pondering about an important question that has been keeping me awake, right? Do I have enough stories to tell my grandchildren? Which I really don't have. If you look around, I've not climbed a mountain, nor do I have a athletic achievement, nor have I fought in a war, nothing like that, right? So I've been a very normal guy. And most of us, the vast majority of people are typical normal people who would typically spend a majority of our lives working, right? Prime of our lives, 30, 35 years, you work, and it consumes you, right? And we think that is the purpose of existence. And in the process, when you turn 50s, 60s, you realize that life is just passed by. And in the process, right, and all of us would want to do something more. And a lot of things keep us away. I mean, your life, your kids, your family, your bank balances, you want to build a house, multiple things just keep you occupied. And in the process, we typically don't have anything to tell our grandchildren any which way, right? I don't think a story about my missed flights or the number of increments I've got or the campaigns I've done, they're not any stories for granted, they're just passing. So are there stories that inspire them? Are there stories that awe them? And that is what the purpose of this whole story is. I grew up in a small middle-class town, in a middle-class family, did what was expected of a regular kid, right? Work on academics, do well in studies, which is what I did well. I graduated in physics, went on to do a MBA from a top B school, then invested myself in going to the US and did one more course in a top B school there. And then I became a CMO, worked in multiple companies. A lot of things happened, right? So did well in life, apparently. But I don't think I was satisfied in doing anything. And in this whole process, I harbored this very secret desire of being a rock star, a guitarist, right? When I say guitarist, I was always right in the front of any rock show, only watching the guitarists, what they would do, how would they play, what kind of equipment they had. And it was all about how I wanted to be them. It was all about how can I be a guitarist someday in life. And that journey is what I'm going to talk to you about. This is me, and that's my alter ego. Typically, all of us have this alter ego, right? I always wanted to be a guy with long hair, tattoos, torn jeans, wanted to play the guitar. And not an ordinary guitar. I always wanted to play the electric guitar, right? And not just electric guitar, I wanted to play the red-colored electric guitar. Because there's something magical about electricity and guitars. And that combination is just magical, right? It is something that's absolutely mind-blowing. Right, so a red-colored electric guitar with long hair, tattoos is something that I always aspired to be, and that's what I did. And how did I start this journey? And I used to go to concerts, speak to people. In fact, when they used to take a break, I used to take the guitar and let's just feel the guitar and feel that I could play it someday. And I used to be ridiculed by my friends. But I said, that's it, I will need to do this myself someday. And the journey started this far, right? I figured out how I should learn the course, learn the guitar, right? So I went out and looked for teachers who could come home because I thought I would not ever go to a class because of your busy schedules or whatever. I'll always find excuses not to go there. So I found a church pastor. A church pastor came home, nice, old, humble man, taught me the basics of majors, minors, strumming patterns. But then one day I played the music I like to play, which is I played on the CD Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, and Pink Floyd. To which obviously he declined, saying that this is music, not that he plays, or he wouldn't be able to help me. In the process, then I looked for classes, schools. I went to a school, music school, where my classmates were class 3, 4 graders. My teacher was a college pass out. I was an uncle to everyone, right? It didn't matter to me because I just went there for a purpose. I just wanted to learn the guitar. There's a lot of theory, there's a lot of newer learning, circle of fifths and circle of sevenths, a lot of things, right? It was getting too much, right? It was getting a little too much for me. But then the learning was so steep and so fast at a point in time that I was starting to play something that made, till then I was making noise, but now I'm trying to make music. And the big leap happened when I actually joined the office band, right? office band. It just happened that the guy who was playing the rhythm guitar moved to the US, and there was a slot open, and I said, yes, let me do this. It was a big, I would say, coming out of the comfort zone sort of a thing for me. I wanted to be something, I don't know if I could ever play there or play with them, right? But then I figured out that I had a role to play, and even the little bit of what I could do. If I did my bit well, it sounded well, right? And that's how this whole thing started. So one step at a time, I just learned a few things, newer songs, newer patterns. And the learning as playing as a band was absolutely wonderful, right? And we performed in some competitions. We came third. We eventually played in corporate talk challenges. We did a few things, right? It was really motivating in this whole journey. And by the by, I also met like-minded people. We now have a band. We play in various places. And for me, the epitome of playing at a place was Hard Rock Cafe. And that we did. And I thought actually set a target for myself in 2024. I would play at least once. We've already done it twice, and we're going to play again in a couple of weeks. So now things have elevated to the next level, right? So if you see this whole journey, right, there have been, I would call them as troughs of agony and crests of ecstasy, right? So you will have a point in time that it's very hard, you're learning patterns which are difficult for you, but suddenly you are making progress and you find some value in it and find you're really doing well. But this journey is always a zigzag pattern, and I'm sure all of us would know this, that anything that we learn new is not a smooth, straight line that all of us are learning perfectly, and that's the ideal situation, right? It never happens. So all of us have this thing that happens, which is very, very zigzag, and finally, someday you'll find yourself patting your back because you've done something right? So this is how this whole thing pans out. The other important thing was obviously for me was coming out of comfort zone, right? Had I not pushed myself to take up the guitar, I wouldn't have done it. Nobody put a gun on my head that, okay, you have to learn the guitar. This is something I did it because I was wanting to be part of that, wanted to see myself like a guitarist. And all of us, this slide says, all of us as humans always want to be in our comfort zones, right? So we would love to be doing the same things, never want to come out of it. Like it says, nothing ever grows there. You're just being happy, being comfortable and cozy. So this was a big leap coming out of what I did, what I used to do, and wanted to pick it up and did this whole journey. Broadly, 3 or 4 things really worked for me. First thing I started off was picture myself as to what I would like to be seen, right? I always used to imagine me playing the guitar, lights on me, people clapping, blah, blah, right? So that was what I always start, if you're starting something new, whatever it could be, your startup, your programming language, you want to be a chef, you want to be a gardener, whatever, just picture your end goal. Figure out what you want to be, how you want to be, what you want to see yourself as. At the same time, sometimes these tasks seems very, very arduous and big. Break them down. Make micro targets, not atomic. Atomic is too small, you can't be just doing one thing, but break it down to smaller sets of targets, work one at a time. When you look back, you would actually see you made a lot of progress. You're actually doing much better than what you thought you were doing. So incremental learning is extremely important. And the most important thing here is be honest to yourself, because if you don't be honest to yourself in terms of learning, you're not accountable. So I always say that it's about personal accountability. And if I shortchange my own learning, I'm not a good guitarist at all. If I'm not accountable, what is accountability? It's since I can control what I can control, which is inputs. Inputs here is basically practice time, effort I put. And that only I can do. And I know if I do that well, the output is definitely shows, right? For example, if I go to the band practice, I've not practiced myself and I've just landed up there, I know I'm fumbling and I'm just breaking the whole place down. Okay? And reward yourself in the process. You've done a few things, you played the first time in Hard Rock Cafe, buy yourself a new guitar for the next time. Buy new equipment, do something interesting so that keeps you motivated, so that you're not jaded doing something. So these are, I'm sure all of us have led teams and led people in our organizations. Always try and, incentives work well, right? So always try and reward people, reward yourself, whatever. So don't be harsh on yourself. And as one of these, one of my favorite quotes from Walt Disney, right? So, and I'm sure it applies to everyone, all of us in the context of what we do as team people, is none of us is good as all of us. I can be the best guitarist, but without the drummer, I'm nothing. or I'm the best vocalist, or I'm the best team player, I'm the best coder, I'm the best marketing guy, I'm the best social designer, whatever you are. You cannot be what you are if you're not part of the team. And none of us is as good as all of us. It really drives and the sense of purpose says that you have to contribute even a small bit. I can do my bit well, the whole thing comes together very well. As part of this journey, this is what our band is. This is me playing, images of me playing the guitar at the Hard Rock Cafe and somewhere. So this picture summarizes my journey in some ways. When I look back, I'm sure I've created some stories for my grandchildren, so they will know that their grandfather was a rock star. And rock star not necessarily being a real rock star, it's a rock star in front of them, in their eyes, my peers, friends, family, whatever. And finally, it's about being a rock star in your own eyes, right? So accountability, grit, obviously for gratification. So that's what is my takeaway from this. I started this whole journey much late in life. I mean, all of us typically start learning a sport or an instrument much younger because you're much easier, you're learning quickly, right? This whole journey started very, very late in my life for me, but I didn't want to give it up. This was a dream that I had to live. And likewise, I'll urge, if this talk can actually motivate a few more people to pick up anything that you want to do and learn, be it cooking, being a chef, baker, whatever you are, today is the day. So be the better version of yourself, play an instrument, pursue your passion. Right? Thank you very much.